Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Resident Rule Breakers. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Camille.
And this podcast will be about episode 407, which is called Hero Moments. It was written by Marqui Jackson and Marc, Halsey, and directed by Edward Ornellas. And yeah, you're not hearing things. I'm actually back, but I'm dealing with COVID long hauler syndrome where the symptoms are still lingering.
Happy birthday. How old are you going to be?
32.
32? I hope you're well enough to, what's that called? To enjoy your birthday tomorrow.
Yeah, my birthday's March the 7th. So,
let's talk about this past week's episode. It's called Hero Moments. And it's like, for me, it was okay.
Yeah, like we've been waiting a while to see anything on Conrad's military service background because it was only hinted at briefly in the first season.
Yeah, it was for such a build up on like what's going on with Conrad's military. You know, there's been really no story at all. It was, I don't know. I wasn't impressed by it, I guess. I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for saying that, but it's true.
I have to agree with you because when I saw the promo, I was like, oh cool, they're really gonna actually go there,
Yeah.
Showing him in the military. But I was actually disappointed with that aspect of it. Like if they're gonna show military, they need to show, like, do a whole episode that's like a bottle episode on Conrad's military past. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would have preferred that actually.
Yeah, I would have liked like a whole conversation, like what's his name? The military commanding officer only talked to Conrad for like 2 minutes during the whole episode.
I agree with you on the Conrad military thing. I was really hoping for more.
The conversation with him and his commanding officer lasted like only 2 minutes, and this was supposed to be a conversation that they've been delaying for 10 years, and like that's it. That's all we're getting. I mean, I hope he comes back, but I don't know. Or at least I hope we delve more into, Conrad's past. Like, okay, who were the other guys that he went to? Does he go to like some kind of military reunion with his unit? They do that kind of stuff. And I said, did Conrad get like some kind of medal? What about the commanding officer? Anything?
I mean, if he was injured in a war, like he says he was,
a Purple Heart.
My grandfather was a Purple Heart recipient, so I do understand the merit that has, and he was very proud of it.
Yeah. It's something to be proud of. It's like that all we get out of for like 4 seasons. We've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for some kind of hit on Conrad's past. And to me, it was just a letdown. There was just nothing. I don't know. I mean, the only thing that I actually liked that had to deal with Conrad's military past was him letting go of the bullet. Because, like, to me, that bullet signifies I'm letting go of my history. I'm forgiving myself, even though honestly, I don't think that he did anything wrong. You know what I mean? Like, especially nothing worth holding on 10 years for. You know what I mean? And also, it's like preparing himself to be a father. Because can you imagine holding on to that? But also holding onto your kid, you know what I mean? It's just.
I guess that's what they're trying to prepare him, the character, for, is to be able to not have any guilt, so he can raise his kid. I don't know. be a good father, be a good husband. I get what they're trying to do. I don't know.
It was just, like I said, it was a disappointment. That whole military storyline was a disappointment. Good job on the stunt doubles and the stunt people. Like, y'all rocked it with that whole thing. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, the only thing that I liked about it was with the military storyline was the letting go of the bullet. That actually touched me when they did that. And then the part where the Conrad was an asshole this season. This episode. I'm sorry. A lot of our fans are gonna hate me for saying this, but it's true. He was such an asshole this episode. The way he talked to AJ was such an asshole. And I get it. He was like, worried about his commanding officer. AJ couldn't find the bullet or whatever. But like, somebody in that hospital needs to remind Conrad that he's only a resident.
I mean, he is the head resident or the chief resident or whatever he is, but he's still a resident compared to AJ, who's been an attending for quite some time now.
Yeah, somebody in that hospital needs to like smack Conrad down a little bit. I can't imagine a chief resident or any resident for that matter talking to an attending in that way without like getting some kind of disciplinary action. Like,
yeah.
And then like he's not the guy's doctor. He's going in there as the family, right? So like step off, stop. Like you hadn't talked to the guy in 10 years. How do you know that the bullet is still there? Like I get it. Conrad was right. If somebody in our group had said, well, he was right. It was AJ's fault that he got a stroke. I'm like, no.
No, but it's been 10. Oh, hold on. It's been 10 years. He could have found a way to get it removed. Okay.
It's just so stupid. The guy was, and I want someone to just smack Conrad down just a little bit. Like I would have loved AJ to be like, I'm the attending. I'm the doctor. He's my patient. You're not. He's not your patient. So don't be talking to me like that. You know what I mean? I was just waiting for AJ to do the Raptor of that scene.
I guess they're trying to tone him down, which times I'm okay with them toning him down, but there are times where it's like he needs to be released, and this is probably the one episode I would have agreed with you on that one. However, Nick is doing well in her recovery from her from everything that happened to her. So glad to see that she's recovering well.
She looks good. Like I have to say that like Emily looks good with a baby bump. So like we're hoping for Emily and Josh babies, real life ones.
But yeah, Nick's recovering well, and apparently she will be back at work in next week's episode, according to everything I've read. I really have had only time to read and watch Netflix, so I really don't have anything else to do, so I have no excuse not to know what I'm talking about. Minator. Yeah.
Yes. They do this complicated heart surgery.
Quadruple heart valve replacement, which is it's rare.
Yeah, very few doctors do it. It's like top tier cardiac surgery kind of thing.
And
Mina's obviously still nervous about her immigration status. So like she's AJ's like, well, at least we have this surgery coming up to keep your mind out of it or whatever. So
yeah. But here's the thing, like AJ gets called away to help Conrad in the middle of this surgery. And he's like, you can do this, Mina, or whatever. You know, he has faith in Mina But you know what? I could have told Mina that too, that she could do this because she's just that good. And
Mina does not know that she's, which is weird because Mina in the earlier seasons knows she's that good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's weird for us to see her with questioning her ability, because I mean, like, season 1, Mina was so badass. I couldn't imagine her questioning herself. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I did love the scene where the heart was like bleeding out or something, where there was heart problems, and Mina was flashing back to, you know, when she did what's that electric hand from the pilot?
The Titian.
Huh?
It's called a Titian. The machine's called the Titian.
Yeah. That one. So, like, you know, she was flashing back to all the things that she did before for the past 4 seasons to kind of like boost her confidence back up. So I was glad that they brought back the scene with the, you know, plum, or was it the apple?
I think it's an apple there, but there was a plum as well. Yes.
Yes. And stuff, and you know, it was just like, it was just a reminder for not just Mina, but I think for us that Mina's a badass. She got this. Don't worry about it, or whatever. And at the end, I love that the AJ was like, I don't need to be your mentor anymore. You got this. You're fine.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Like, I know I've seen comments where Minator's moving too slow, but here's the thing. It's been freaking 4 years before they got to be in a romantic relationship. Seriously, people, they're going to move slow. But the fact is, they've got to this point where he's finally saying to her, "You don't need me as your mentor anymore." That's movement, because it was the one barrier to their relationship that they had. Now we can.
I remember when
completely
all this time they were saying, like, you know, Mina was like, you know, you're my mentor. I don't want to lose the mentor-mentee relationship. So we can't do this relationship thing going, you know, until that. And when he said, like, okay, I'm no longer your mentor, I was thinking to myself, like, if they hadn't already moved forward with their relationship, then this would have been their jump off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and that's my opinion.
How much faster do they want Mina and AJ to go? Like, are they like, do they want Mina already married and having a baby? Like, they just got together.
It took Conrad and Nate how many years to get married?
4 or 5 years. I mean, come on. What do you want them to do? They only been together for like, at this time, based on like Nick's pregnancy, maybe 6 months.
So yeah, it's just not long enough for all that. But the fact is, this is a step in the right direction of him not being her mentor anymore. So, but it is right, because I think Mina and Conrad were in the same resident class together, I think.
Yes.
It's a step in the right direction for Mina to turn into an attending.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's about time.
Yeah. So, but are we sure that that's what Mina's gonna? I mean, like, has Mina declared cardio? Has Mina declared cardio as her thingamajig?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Yeah, I want to know if Mina has declared that as her but also at the same time, I do have a feeling that she's probably gonna be a double board certified, sort of like AJ, because she's, you know, AJ's triple board. I know she has a interest as well in general surgery.
Always steps in with Belle, who, by the way, is a general surgeon. So
yeah, and what's his name? Hogan, Dr. Nolan.
Yeah, he's a trauma surgeon. So, but So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where they take that storyline. But in my opinion, it's a step in the right direction for Minator. It's progression.
Yes.
But yeah, Mina did a wonderful job trying to get all the valves in properly. Because I mean, seriously, you have to be really, really bad heart ways to have a quadruple valve replacement.
I know. Did you see all the strings and stuff that they did over the heart when she opened it? I mean, Jessica was just, yay, Jessica's back, woohoo!
Yeah.
But Jessica was saying, like, I need to text my mom and say I'm sorry, because she thought, her mom, made Jessica do needlepoint, and Jessica was like, when am I ever gonna use this? And sure enough, here's needlepoint. In a very complicated manner. But yeah, Jessica's like, I need to go and text my mom, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like that. And the next one I have written down was Kane wakes up from his I guess they induced a coma while he was in El Pac or whatever, and he's finally woken up and he's able to breathe on his own.
Yeah.
And Kit's there and she's like, you've got a 50% chance of completely going back to what you were doing to be able to do surgery again, which is very poor chances. His hands are just too shaky for him to be able to do surgery.
Yeah.
And so
he's still looking for the whistleblower.
We know the whistleblower is Mina.
Mina, yeah.
But
I'm just terrified that more like Kane is gonna do, find out about Mina's immigration status and do something.
Yeah, like for me, like that's my worry. As I sat there thinking, Mina's trying to get her immigration status fixed. She whistleblowed. Kane's gonna try to come after her, and he's gonna try to use this against her, that her immigration is messed up. So that's my worst fear on this, because like when the press release for this episode came out, it said Kane was gonna go after Mina. It never said anything that he it didn't really say that he knew it was Mina. It didn't say that he didn't know it was Mina. But I think the lawyer may have told him off camera or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the point is, that's where he's going with this storyline. So,
he better not mess with Mina. I swear, if he messes with Mina, Kane will be probably toppling Lane Hunter as most hated doctor on the history of Chastain.
That's a big big way to climb to the top of the most hated heat.
Hey, we love our Mina. That girl is like awesome.
Yeah.
Don't touch her, or else you will face the wrath
of the fandom. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think probably one of my favorite storylines of this episode was Devin's, actually.
Yeah.
The sickle cell patient, which actually was brought up by the writers when we interviewed him back in.
Yeah, we talked to they did mention that. I think it was what's his name?
Yeah.
Dr. Lamas was the one who mentioned they're gonna have a sickle cell anemia patient storyline. I don't know if it was. Did she say if it was gonna be recurring?
I don't know. Maybe so. Anyway. This patient is that patient, and sickle cell is an interesting disease in and of itself, but this patient needs a hip replacement. Kit, I love the fact that she's still practicing surgery. She's the CEO. I absolutely love it.
Kit is rocking that whole CEO thing. First of all, her I know we should we should probably not be talking about her clothes, but her clothes was just on point throughout the episode where she looked like she was a boss and she was like in charge, and her hair and everything, like whatever. Whoever their stylist is for the episode just hit the mark for like, I'm a boss lady, I'm in charge head to toe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But anyway, Kit performs a hip replacement on this sickle cell patient.
Yeah.
And but she comes out of the surgery with anemia.
Yeah.
And they get her blood that's better suited, like it'll match better. And and it helps to help her, but she actually has some problems. The oxygen's not doing what it needs to do, and her heart's not beating to the fullest and it's supposed to beat. So Devin has to shock her awake, which, by the way, ow, that would actually really hurt. I can only imagine how bad that would hurt. But anyway, he has to shock her heart. I don't know.
Yeah.
He gets better, and she has a ballet company or something, and she can't go to the recital, so Devin brings it to her. Kind of unrealistic, but I love the sentiment. So,
well, she said that she used to dance, but because of the pain from sickle cell and her hip problems and stuff like that, she stopped dancing. So Devon, so cute.
if it is a recurring character, I would be okay to see how if he were to help her out more.
Having the princess coming back, like, dude, is this like the Bachelor season for
Devin?
Devon? I mean, we've had Billy, we've had this sickle cell patient. Now supposed to have princess coming soon. There's gonna be a new intern coming in next week that sounds like there's gonna be throwing a wrench. She's gonna be throwing a wrench in Devon's romance as well. And I'm sitting there going like, is he gonna be passing out roses next? Like, these are all the candidates for Devon's season of Bachelor.
Yeah. He should just go on The Bachelor and try to find himself a wife, you know?
I know, because it's like, what the hell? I mean, we went from grieving Devon to like revolving door of women. I don't know. His mom needs to come back and be like, hey, what's going on here?
The other storyline I really found endearing was the Belle Jake storyline. And we meet Jake's husband. His name is Greg.
Yeah.
And they're trying to adopt. So Jake's really hesitant to let Belle back into his life because Belle disappeared from his. You know, he doesn't want the kid to get an attachment, and then Belle disappeared.
Yeah.
Essentially. But in the end, I think Kit really helped him out by saying, look, Belle gave up being the CEO for a reason, and it was completely selfless. So
yeah, I like that the husband was cheering on for Jake to forgive Belle. Like, and honestly, I do understand why Jake is holding on to that, like, you know, but I wish Belle would just sit him down and tell him, look, I wanted to be a part of your life. Your mom didn't want me to be a part of your life, you know what I mean? And I don't know. I wonder what Jake's mom has Jake told his mom that he's working with Belle now, and what she's probably thinking about this if she's around.
So yeah, I mean, I don't understand what it's like to be abandoned by a grandparent, because all my grandparents were always in my life. So but like I could see how it would traumatize a child to have a close bond like that, and then they just disappear. A parent, a grandparent, I don't care. If you're in a child's life, it's traumatizing for someone to just disappear. So I understand where he's going from.
I'm just happy that we're gonna have a gay couple, and we're gonna have an adoption storyline. I hope that it falls through, and I hope that Jake and Val work things out. I mean, even if Jake doesn't want Belle in his kid's life, Belle is gonna be in Jake's life because they work together. You know what I mean? Like one way or the other. But anyway, I'm just excited that, and then now they're like going out on a coffee date, you know.
Yeah. And we mentioned already, you know, because Kit's rocking being the CEO and stuff, but she's actually listening to the hospital staff. She's taking their concerns into question and making changes to see to how to make it better for the work environment. And
yeah, like the mailing insulin and stuff like that sounds cool.
Yeah, but
like
at the end, Belle offers to buy Kit a drink. You know, I'm like, just let them get together already. You know, I'm, you know, that's kind of like I was actually for Kit and Belle before I was for Minator, and I hate to admit that one, but I was. So I'm ready to see it start growing more and more that direction. It was just really cute. He found her car keys for her. So yeah, I like that. That's really all the storylines from the episode. You had a topic you wanted to talk about, didn't you?
Yeah. Okay, so before we finish this podcast and say our, you know, usuals, I wanted to put out a statement concerning a recent tweet that one of the writers put out that kind of came off as victim blaming for people who were sexually harassed. So my name is Camille and I am a rape survivor. I was raped as a child. And it only stopped because I had the courage to not only speak up and tell my teacher, but also keep telling the truth despite being bullied, to try to change my story. I say this not to gain pity from our listeners, but to tell other survivors of rape, sexual harassment, and unwanted advances by people, you are not alone. Don't let others diminish your trauma. Don't let anyone tell you you're a professional victim or that it wasn't as bad as someone else's trauma. We all survive something no person should ever have to survive. A violation of trust, a violation of our boundaries, and a violation of our person. We in this podcast stand with survivors. We don't condone anyone ever downplaying other people's trauma because, quote, I've had it happen to me and I just brushed it off. I honestly am ashamed of anyone who used the platform to spread such ignorance and hate and victim blame. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Just I know how hard that was for you to say that. So, because in the past you've actually asked me to edit out when you mentioned it. So,
yeah, I don't like talking about it. I like literally looked at the listeners of our podcast and was like, okay, how many people are listening in Hawaii? 3. Okay, that's probably 3. Those 3 are probably me. Okay, I don't think any of my parents are listening. They better not be listening.
So I agree with you. I haven't had the experiences you've had. I have been harassed, and that's just as bad because it was completely unwanted. And it happened about 12 years ago while I was still in college. So, but luckily for me, I was able to escape very quickly and never told anyone. So, but a lot of
I'm so
women don't.
pissed off that y'all don't know like the emotional turmoil I've had to deal with for this whole week. Kayla knows. My therapist knows. Brittany knows. Like, few people know, because the thing about it is, I'm one of those. The person who wrote this up is a good friend of this podcast. She supported this podcast, etc. And then to like make that tweet, I had to like struggle with my own feelings of anger, disappointment, hurt, and my PTSD being triggered. Plus, fear of how it's going to affect this podcast. Will people stop supporting us or whatever if we speak on it? Also, will people stop supporting us if we don't speak on it? Because I'm one of those people who don't give a crap if you stop listening to us. I'm more one of those, because I'm going to say what I want to say. You know what I mean? But also at the same time, it's like, because this is a person who works for the show, who writes for the show, etc., will we be facing consequences from the show? You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
But also, I understand. I'm one of those people that believe that silence is saying that you're in agreement. So I couldn't keep silent. You know what I mean? Despite the consequences.
Agreed. So that's really just, we wanted to bring it up right quick and everything. Because it was something that I know for Camille, it really did bring up a lot of emotions. It made me frustrated too, and angry, but we realized that we have a platform and we can speak our mind here a little bit more freely. So we did. Next week's episode is the last episode that will be airing until April.
So 2-week break.
So
I think 2-week break.
Yeah, at least a 2 or 3 week break, I think. If I remember correctly, as I had nothing but time on my hands. I was trying to figure out when it would come back, because Fox really never said. They just said it was a mid-winter hiatus or mid-season finale, or what. Winter finale is what they called it. By the way, Fox, it's not winter anymore. So sorry.
When did spring start?
2 weeks.
Okay, so it's still winter, technically.
Yeah, next week's episode is called First Days, Last Days, and Nick returns to work. Billy's back. And so there's the promo, if you've seen it, it's pretty much showing her confronting the guy that attacked her.
Her attacker's back as well, so
it'll be
someone was asking, like, why would Nick run back into the room of, you know, her attacker? So I'm sitting there going, because she's a nurse.
Yeah, doing her job.
Like, what do you want me? Some of these people, like some of our members, I swear, I'm glad they're not medical professionals. If they would let their personal feelings affect them doing their job.
Yeah. Yeah, they would. Yeah, Nick's a nurse. She's been trained to try to not let her personal feelings get in the way. They tend to, I mean, this has got to be one of those things that's really hard for her, because this guy almost killed her baby, almost killed her. So yeah, she has to have some problems with that. But yeah, he comes back. So we're gonna see what happens there. And then from my research, it should be the second week of April. The show should return for 6 more episodes after this one, because next episode is the 8th one. So 6 more episodes, and then it'll probably run through the end of May.
Yes, and then that will be the season finale. And we're gonna have to talk about what we gotta do after.
People freak out over the word finale. So I wanted to clarify that. Probably shouldn't have used that term and just said in like 3 weeks or something like that.
I know, right? But anyway, this will definitely be the season finale in like May. Season 4 will be done sometime in May. So finale.
Still filming the show. Amy said they were still filming 10.
Yeah.
So they're not that far ahead of filming of what's airing. So we have to give them time to actually film the show, edit the show, and let it go to air. So I'm okay with it having a little bit of a break, which is why that's how I explain what little breaks that the show has, because they're still filming it.
Yeah.
And they're still filming it in a world of COVID, which, by the way, if any of these actors got it, I would be so bad, because like I've been through it now, and I have to say it's difficult. It's really difficult. Like just walking to another room for me is exhausting. I just want to say that they're still filming in a world where all these restrictions are in place to prevent the guys from getting COVID. So you got to understand why it's going to take them longer to film. They're still filming the show, which is why we need to give them time to film. So, from what Futon Critic, which is where we pull the press releases from, because they get them directly from Fox. What Futon Critic is predicting the second week of April for a returned episode.
So what are we gonna do until then?
Because it should be 3 weeks, actually. If that prediction's right, we should be able to do the first 2 episodes of season 2 and 2-4, which was actually a connection to Gilmore Girls that had Toxade in it. So that'll be what we do in the meantime until the show returns. And I'll get better gradually. I'm better than I was a week ago. So
yeah.
So all that being said, I just want to say that we do have our Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/The Resident Podcast, and little as $1, you get PTS. And sorry, we haven't really been keeping it up because, well, I got COVID. But anyway, I just want to say thank you to our Patreon patrons, and thank you for supporting us. And that if you want to support us, it's little as $1 a month. And the more you pay, the more stuff you get, and all the money stays into the podcast. It doesn't go into our pockets or anything. So,
Okay, so anyway, let's sign off.
So there's that. You can contact us by email, theresidentrulebreakers@gmail.com. You can go to social media. We have Facebook, the page, Resident Rule Breakers Podcast, the Facebook group, which is linked to the page. If you're not in the group, join. Answer all 4 questions, please, or you will be denied by one of the admins, by one of us. And please be kind and courteous when you're in the group. All I ask.
Yeah.
Instagram, which is at the Resident Podcast. Camille is at the Resident on Fox Fans, and I'm at KBCountry37. And then we have our Twitter, which is at Resident Podcast. Then you can listen to us, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and of course, we're on YouTube. So until next week, for us to discuss episode 408, First Days, Last Days. My name's Kayla.
And I'm Camille.
Bye, guys.